Hello, everybody. Josh Neighbors here. This is the College Countdown, recording this on Thursday, October 9th, 2025. And on today's program, we preview one of the biggest weekends we've had, a good variety of games. Who has the most to gain? Who has the most to lose this weekend? And some of the biggest contests. We'll break that down and more. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. It's at CC Podcast JN. I'm at Josh Neighbors _. The show is once again, I said at CC Podcast JN. Jack Allen TV is where you find Jack Allen. Also, like the video, sub to the channel. All of those things are very helpful in growing this show when you all do that. Find us wherever you get your podcasts. Obviously, we're here on YouTube as well. Leave those comments. Be good ideas for us for shows in the future. All right, so this weekend is a huge one. I think our friends at Draftkings are really going to help us set the table for this weekend with some of those odds, some of those spreads. But look at the schedule. It's a really well-balanced one. It's the heart of conference play. And these games are meaningful as teams jockey for position, right? Especially as we, think about the 12-team playoff, but also kind of cementing how they're playing. I think about Alabama right now, a team that is on a run of playing number 5 Georgia on the road, number 16 Vanderbilt, at number 14 Missouri, Tennessee, at South Carolina, number 11 LSU, number 6 Oklahoma as well. So it's very important. It's paramount for them to keep racking up wins, or at least keep playing well too, because the up and down nature of things can hurt you as you try to approach the college football playoff. And we're comparing resumes. That's going to be a big part of it. So this weekend, I really do think that we're going to get a bunch of games like this. I think when we start who has the most on the line, I would go with Missouri, right? I really think there's a pretty good chance that Missouri, with the win here, could really make their case ironclad, because if you look at their resume right now, they've got wins over Kansas and wins over South Carolina. And, who knows how good South Carolina will look. But I'll tell you what, Lenore Sellers was fantastic in that game, even though he was hurt. He couldn't run, but he was thrown all over the place. They've got at Auburn, tough game. They've got at Vanderbilt, A&M, Mississippi State, at Oklahoma, and at Arkansas. So, if they figure they go 10-2, it's very possible. But, if you got 4 road games at Auburn, at Vandy, at OU, at Arkansas, man, it's going to be hard. You might lose 2 of those. So you got to protect home field. And Missouri's been very good about protecting home field. They're going to have to be again tonight. I really do believe they're going to have another stellar effort on their home field tonight. On Saturday, that's another stellar effort on their home field. So I really do think out of the teams this weekend, they definitely have the most at stake when it comes to teams out of the Southeastern Conference. Also Texas OU. Texas has got to win this game. I know it's possible at 9-3, but if you go into the Kentucky and at Mississippi State, which are not terribly hard games, but if you go in there at 3-3, and you would not have a win against a power opponent yet. They have lost to Ohio State by 7. They've lost to Florida by 8. Both of those are road games. This OU game is a huge chance for them to turn things around. Kentucky, Mississippi State, Kentucky's not very good. Mississippi State is improved, but we'll see how they hold up throughout the year. And then you look, it's Vanderbilt at Georgia, Arkansas, and A&M. So opportunities there, but they've got to start racking up some wins, because they don't have any wins against those power conference opponents. And those are the kinds of wins that you need if you are going to make the college football playoff. It's going to be a weak resume as far as SEC teams go if they do not win that game. Oklahoma's got a chance to prove they are for real, but Oklahoma's got a really tough stretch the rest of the way. It actually is pretty important for them to win, because they've got at South Carolina, Ole Miss, at Tennessee, at Alabama, Missouri, and LSU. So, they've got a good chance, a good case if they go 9-3 to make the college football playoff based off of how difficult that schedule is. A win against Texas, would go a long way. But it's interesting to see our friends at the DraftKings Sportsbook have this spread right now between Texas and Oklahoma. Texas favored by 1.5 still. And that's not surprising to me, because that roster is so good. So it's not surprising to see that they are the favorites. You might think, OU, they're the better team, they're the highly ranked team, but we always know that doesn't always equate to spreads and to victories. So I think we have to keep that in mind when we look at a point spread like that. Also in the SEC, I want to make sure I hit all of that, but I would say number one is Missouri. They've got the most at stake this weekend, just because I think they're not in that top tier class. This win, I think, would move them into that because of the way that we're seeing Alabama right now look just so good. So I think that would be a huge victory. Let's see, trying to show the SEC. Obviously Georgia's got to beat Auburn on the road. And then LSU, they need to keep shaping up. I mean, there's a chance that South Carolina could go in there, but there's a couple SEC teams that might notch their third loss this weekend. South Carolina could be one of those. Auburn could be one of those. Florida's already got their third loss. Arkansas does too. So we could be looking at the end of the line for a couple teams in terms of, their playoff chances, but I mean, they're kind of doomed anyway, but it would be the official ending. If you want to go to Big Ten, we have to go next between the SEC and the Big Ten, the two biggest conferences. Illinois got a lot in the line too, because if they get nuked again, it's kind of out of it if they get blown out twice. Indiana and Oregon, right? This is a chance to see, even if Indiana loses the game, if they're competitive, like how much of an aberration was that Illinois result, them blowing out an inferior opponent. Then the good news for them is that they've got a quarterback in Fernando Mendoza who is 16 touchdowns, 1 interception, only taking 5 sacks on the year. He has got really, really, veteran savvy is, I think putting it mildly, but also, he's got a great frame. He's a big dude, 6'5", 225, well-traveled too from Miami, played at Cal, then now he's at Indiana. It looks like the genuine article. And the guy's thrown for nearly 6,000 yards in his college career. So this is a guy that, obviously it can put a big stamp on his Heisman campaign if he's able to play well this week. And also another guy I think that we should be talking about in that Heisman category is a Decorian Moore, right? We have not really talked about many wide receivers in this group, trying to get that Heisman trophy, but Decorian Moore so far on the year, he's got 300 yards in 5 games and 2 touchdowns. And I think, you also have to think about his big result when they played Penn State, 7 catches, 89 yards in that game. He's been really consistent so far to start off the year. And his best games, some of his best work, biggest catches have come against power conference opponents as well. So I think Decorian Moore, if he's got any kind of a Heisman campaign or trying to get that, at least that sheen, that shine that we saw a Jeremiah Smith and a Ryan Williams got, these games are paramount. His performance is paramount in these games, to kind of reach that level of accolade that he would like to get to. All right. Also on the Big Ten side of things, Oregon obviously gets the win against Penn State, so they don't have to win the game. But I'll tell you what, Indiana going on the road, if they were able to pull this off, that would be absolutely bananas. And that would just show you Kurt Cignetti, man, like the job he's done would just be absolutely crazy. But you got to think about the rest of the schedule. They got Michigan State, they got UCLA, at Maryland, at Penn State, who's no longer ranked this is Indiana, obviously. They've got Wisconsin at Purdue. So that Illinois win looks good. At Iowa, it looks decent, but they played Kennesaw State, Indiana State, and Old Dominion in non-conference. So they didn't rack up really any quality wins. At Maryland could be a pretty good win. At Penn State could, but this is their best shot to get like a signature win, because if you don't get this win, you're going to have to hope that Penn State comes back up into the rankings. And also you're going to have to hope that, that you don't see too much of a drop from Illinois rather. You're going to need them to play well as well. All right, more of who else has what on the line this weekend when we come back. But first, word from our sponsor.
Your season, your shot. The NFL season is rolling, and every touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with Draftkings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. From first touchdown scorer to anytime TD props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. New customers, this one is for you. Bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, score over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code NEIGHBORS. That's code NEIGHBORS to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Plus over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 8887-897777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Fees may apply in Illinois, void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
Also, in the Big Ten this weekend, we will have the Michigan Wolverines taking on the USC Trojans. A big one there. I mean, the Michigan's resume, they're always going to have that ultimate shot to get a great win when they take on Ohio State at the end of the year. But at Maryland, at Northwestern, at Michigan State, I mean, those could be decent road wins, but nothing crazy, right? Nothing crazy in those that get you that far. So this is a good opportunity on the road against USC to get another, not a signature win, but a resume booster. Because right now, Michigan's wins, I mean, Wisconsin's not really one. At Nebraska, I think that's that's their best win, obviously. And yeah, I mean, and so if they're going to build a resume, it's worth getting in the CFP. This is a huge, huge opportunity in that category. If you go to the Big 12 side of things, all right, in the Big 12, opportunities abundant this week. TCU is taking on Kansas State. They got to make sure they don't slip up in that game. Also, Iowa State's got to be careful at Colorado because they are wounded right now. 6:30 on Fox. This is kind of your big one here. Kansas, 4-2, 2-1 in the Big 12. They take on Texas Tech. And KU really should have beaten Cincinnati. A gutsy performance by Cincy, but it felt like, anytime Jalen Daniels goes for 445 yards passing, they should probably win the game. He's been outstanding this year, guys. He has thrown for 1,500 yards. He has thrown for 16 touchdowns, just 2 interceptions. And in addition to that, on the ground this year, he has, I'm trying to pull the thing up, 239 yards and a touchdown. So he's having an awesome season. And I love watching Jalen Daniels play. It's great to see him healthy again. But I think they could upset the apple cart in the Big 12. And the real reason I'm excited for this game is because I want to see Texas Tech's defense. Like, this is an offense in KU that's actually going to test that defense. And their defense has been lights out this year. 7 points, 14, 10, and 11 allowed. So their defense has been fantastic, but they have not faced a test like the one they're about to see from this Kansas offense, and we'll see how good Baron Morton looks as well in this game. Also, there is a BYU-Arizona game, so I guess we'll see how good BYU is, but this is one of those games, your Texas Tech, like, you could lose and still win the Big 12 championship and whatnot, but, I mean, this is going to be a good litmus test for how good your defense is, and that could answer a lot of questions about, how real of a contender you can be this year. Also, let's see. I'm trying to find in the ACC, Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech. Georgia Tech's got to keep that thing rolling. SMU is one of them in the ACC. Florida State's got to bounce back. Still ranked top 25, 3-2. They've got Pitt this weekend, so a lot line there. And then if you're going to go in the category of the non-power conferences, South Florida and North Texas does not get much bigger than that in the AAC because both of these teams right now look like they're on a track with Memphis to be playing for an American Conference Championship, alongside potentially Navy as well. And so you have to think that this game is so meaningful for both of these teams to get maybe the inside track. And, if you keep winning, either you or Memphis will sort this thing out. Now, let's see. North Texas does not draw Memphis this year. South Florida does. They'll play at Memphis they got FAU next. Then they will play Memphis. So you've got that there looming for USF, and that's a USF squad, guys, that's played a lot of good teams. Boise State, at Florida, at Miami. North Texas, obviously, we know is pretty decent. Memphis looks very good as well. They've also got Navy in the schedule. So as far as an AAC schedule can be in terms of toughness, that one looks relatively sturdy, at least in my estimation. And also going to go to see the Mountain West. And Notre Dame plays NC State, so that one doesn't really matter. But what's on the line? Mountain West. Fresno State's they're 5-1, 2-0 in the league. UNLV 5-0 have not been ranked yet. Their non-conference is bad. They played Idaho State at Sam Houston. They beat UCLA at Miami of Ohio and then at Wyoming. Air Force at Boise State. Mexico at Colorado State. I mean, they're going to have to win the conference. They're going to need some help from some of the AAC teams in terms of stumbles to get where they want to be. But UNLV has got Dan Mullen on the minds of plenty of teams around the country. We'll also see if San Diego State is for real. We will see if Boise State can get back to their winning ways. So those are kind of the G5 teams that we are tracking. But if you were to ask me right now, the college football playoff, like where we are headed right now, teams that I think we will see, I feel very good about saying that, hey, we're going to see Miami in the college football playoff, unless something happens injury-wise. But they've been so good on both lines of scrimmage. That's the big difference to me, is that they are just pushing teams around. And I can't see a scenario where they just stop pushing teams around. To me, they should be number one. Ohio State's going to have a pretty good chance. That's also by virtue of the schedule that they have. They can just get over the annoyance that is Michigan this year for them. But they've already got a win against Texas. They've got at Illinois this year as well. The win at Washington, I think, is going to end up looking somewhat decent. The Penn State game is not as much, but really it's going to come down for them is will they make the Big Ten championship game, and also can they beat Michigan? Because you want to see them beat Michigan. And we'll see how good Bryce Underwood is at that point in time. But I don't think Ohio State's going to be in there. Oregon obviously looks like they're the real deal. And then you have to go to the SEC. I mean, Ole Miss is top ranked team, but I've got questions about Ole Miss, Texas A&M, and Oklahoma. I don't know if either of those three are an elite team. I think there's a chance that we will see one of them in the SEC title game. But, Georgia's still right there. Although Georgia didn't look special to me this year. Alabama's the team right now. To me, it looks like they are the best in the SEC. So that LSU hanging around. But LSU's offense has not done the trick this year, at least to me. And I think a lot of folks feel that way. 17-10 win, 23 points against Louisiana Tech, only 20 against Florida, and they only scored 19 against Ole Miss. Their inability to run the football will ultimately cost them, in my opinion. And so, I think in the SEC championship game, it's going to be Alabama, and then I don't know who else. I mean, I think it's easy to say Georgia, but because they've been there so often, but I don't feel super confident in this Georgia group. So it kind of gets, interesting here because some of these teams will make it, but where do you start thinking about, hey, I don't know about that team, X team Y. Ole Miss, they look really good. I don't think they're better than last year's team, but they are performing I think to the peak of their abilities, which you got to credit Lane Kiffin and staff for that. So there's no reason they can't be, and that's why I would roll with them if I had to pick one of these three teams. John Mateer doesn't do it for me. I think he's good. I don't think he's just this amazing player, and we haven't seen how tested their defense is yet. And then the big thing for A&M is how real is Marcel Reed's progression, right? How real is what we're seeing right now? How real is the improvement? Because he had stretches last year where he was very good. He's still only completing 59% of his, basically 60% of his passes, which is not terrible, but it's, not world beating, I would say. The big thing for them is they've been effective running the football for the most part this year, 5 yards a carry as a team. And the big two guys, Ruben Owens and Le'Veon Moss, have led that charge. So a very good job out of that running attack. And it's very dynamic. They can hit you at all parts of the field. They can pass efficiently. They're going to be in great shape, right? They're going to be in great shape if they can just pass somewhat efficiently because they really do want to run the football. They do want to have some balance. And I think they can. I just, I'm a little skeptical about that group. That Notre Dame loss, I wouldn't call it fluky. Love the way they play against Mississippi State. Auburn game, I don't think Auburn's very good. So I'm not sure how good of a win that's going to be. But the SEC solving itself out, are 4 teams going to get it? Because I think right now, out of the possible SEC teams that could be in, you've got Ole Miss, you've got A&M, you've got OU, you've got Alabama, you've got Georgia, you got LSU, you got Tennessee. I'd still put Missouri in there, so it's 8. And I mean, if you want to put Vandy, you can. That's 9. But I would go 8. Vanderbilt's going to need to show me, although they look appreciably better, but they need to do it week in and week out and sustain the body blow effect of the season. before I put a ton of faith in them. But yeah, in the playoff picture of the Big Ten, like, okay, let's just say Oregon, Ohio State play in the Big Ten championship game. Indiana needs to make some hay to make sure that they're going to be, considered. And I think they would be in this spot. It'd be much like last year. They'd miss the Big Ten championship game, but still get in. And I think it'd be somewhat deserving that situation. Big 12 probably get one team in. I don't see a situation they get two. ACC could get two in if Georgia Tech just keeps on rolling through this season. That could give them an opportunity to get a second ACC team in. But for Georgia Tech, here's the big thing, is that they can't really lose the rest of the way. That big win against Georgia would help, but if they lost the Georgia game, they'd probably need to win the ACC championship game to make something happen. So I'm kind of skeptical on that. And then obviously a G5 team, a group of 4 team rather, I think will make it too. All right. I'm going to give you guys a couple bets that I like this weekend as we head into week number, I guess we're calling it 6 at this point in time. But one, I love Texas. Sark's a really good coach, and he's not been coaching well. And I think they're going to bounce back in a pretty significant way because I think this team's more talented than Oklahoma. Oklahoma's probably been playing better. They have been playing better. I'm fine saying that. But I really do think that Texas will bounce back in this spot. And I think Arch Manning will be eager to get out there. And I think he's got the tools to shut people up. He's just got to play the right way, and Sark's got to coach him up the right way. Also, Missouri Tigers +3, MIZ, brother and sister. All right, guys, we'll be back after this weekend to break things down on Monday. Make sure you like the video, sub to the channel. Follow us wherever you guys get your podcasts and on YouTube as well. See y'all on Sunday.